all my work is inspired by nature, and a lot of times when I go on hikes, I come home with things in my pocket, like leaves, pine needles, rocks, fossils if I'm lucky, skulls or bones from various plants or animals. And I'm always inspired by them. I started making collages about this series in last fall, where I used a whole bunch of pine needles. I collect rust in different places and grind it and rub it into paper. I have ash, charcoal. I put paper over it, and I made a whole series of these just kind of sketches to see what would happen if I incorporated more of natural elements on a paper in a new way, where they're kind of under and over various amounts of layers of paper. And then when I was making these, I was looking at them, and it really kind of reminded me of old microchips, like the really early ones, like this, that I used to find. And I have books on them, like from the late, like 50s, 59 through the late 70s, how the first microchips really started. And that kind of, started, I just had the sentence in my head, elements of the motherboard, where in a way the motherboard is, in a computer, functions, it allows communication between the various electrical components. And in nature, you have, within an ecosystem, the living organisms and the non-living elements interact with one another, and that forms the whole network. And in both a computer or in a ecosystem, if one element breaks down, everything shuts down. And when human tries to gather the knowledge or information in a microchip or in a computer, things in general, I think, work better in a closed environment. And when you try to open it up to the rest of what's going on around you, it fails, because nature is too big to kind of function like that. Not everything can be taken into account if you want to make a model, which is what a computer in a way actually is. And that became kind of the base for this series, where I have references of electronic components over a natural background, like a setting and network. In this, for this piece, I gathered pieces from the smoke tree, which is like almost like a candy cane, bright pink bush, fluffy bush that turns gray after a couple of weeks, and collected the fluff, I call it, from it afterwards, and soaked it in walnut oil, mounted it to the paper, painted over it, kept going back and forth, and I wanted to make like almost like a universe of either neurons firing or seed or an organism inside. I think a lot of times my work almost looks like it's made like when looking through a telescope or a microscope, something very far removed, but always kind of in a way fractal-like. Like the closer you get, the more it's going to be the same, or the further out you pull, it's going to be still kind of a part of a larger thing. For this work, I had gathered milkweed seeds. I spray glued them on this whole paper, and I set them on fire. And that is all these smoke elements kind of going up. And then I had charcoal dust and powder and graphite powder that I had going down at the same time. I wanted to have that element of things going, both up and down, and some remnant of the actual milkweed seeds, which obviously are symbolic because that's the only plant the monarch butterfly can survive on, the caterpillar itself.
How is that symbolic? I didn't.
Milkweed is a plant where monarch butterflies lay their eggs on, and it's the only plant a caterpillar can eat. That's its food for, it takes about 3-4 generations for them to get from Mexico to America. And once they're in America, they'll have to find milkweed seeds, milkweed plants, in order to lay their eggs on, and then do the last generation there, which will live for 6-7 months, I think, and then fly back. But that's their food. It's the only food they eat. So there's much more of a dearth of milkweed around. We have. Anyway, I found the milkweed seeds, and I thought that was like a good symbolic thing to do, use for that.